All right, all right, all right. It's Danielle, and I am back today talking to you about how to develop a strategy when you go about marketing and promoting your book. And when we talk about strategy, we're not necessarily talking some highly complex, formulaic thingamajigger that you need like a whole whiteboard to outline, okay? I just want you to think very strategically, very mindfully. That's a probably better word, mindful, thoughtful. You're just going to approach this in a way that helps to ensure that you're setting yourself up for more success, more likely success than not, okay? So here's what you don't want to do. No matter where you're talking about your book, how you're talking a book, or to whom you're talking about your book, what you don't want to do is just come out and like jump into the deep end of the cold water and go, "Hey, I wrote a book. Do you want to buy it? Here's the link. Hey, will you check out my book? Hey, oh yeah, I'm Danielle, by the way, and I wrote a book, and I think you're gonna love it. You should buy it." You're not gonna badger them. You're not gonna just make these cold connections and hit up people's inboxes and DMs and social feeds and everywhere you go. All you're going to do is annoy people. I know you know that, but let's just get that out of the way. That's what you don't want to do. That's not smart. That's not thoughtful. That's not mindful. That's not coming from a place of passion. That's not coming from a place of, "Hey, I just want to connect with people and make sure that they get to know me so that there's potential for them to get involved with this wave that I'm making that my book is really the forefront of, okay? Your book is really bigger than just a book and just a sale and just, reaching one more person and making a couple more bucks, right? Your book is about something that you really care about. It's really purpose-based, mission-based. You're wanting to spread a message. The best way to spread that message is being very thoughtful and strategic, okay? So here are kind of 3 phases, if you will, that I want you to walk through when you are identifying your marketing thoughtfulness, your marketing strategy. Strategy to me makes it sound like I'm going to give you like all of these tips and tricks, like this is step number 1, what you do. But really, it's just how you put this thinking cap on about how you approach the promotion and marketing of your book. So, phase 1, you really need to identify, to use very markety terms, identify your brand. You are your brand for your book, but who are you? What do you stand for? How do you distinguish yourself and your book from the crowd? We have people who are very well known. For example, if I say, when you think of Oprah, what do you think about? How would you define her? How would you define her persona? How she presents herself? Michelle Obama, how would you define her? Other very well-known names that we all know. We can kind of fill in the blank here. So how do you want to be defined when you get out there and talk about your book? Are you someone who's just going to use and no judgments here, but are you someone who's just going to use like a bunch of cuss words because that's really your style and that's how you've portrayed yourself in your book? Great. That's absolutely up to you. Are you someone who is going to be, like for example, I like to be a little more bold and colorful. Or are you someone who's more soft-spoken and more compassionately just connecting and allowing people to just kind of feel safe to talk with you, and you're really giving this loving vibe off, or whatever it is. This is up for you to define. So when you think about your brand, you want to understand that it's not only you but your book, and think about what the key selling point of your book is. What really distinguishes your book from the competitors, from the competition? If you need to do a bit of research to identify this, that's okay. Now is the time to do that. You want to understand, well, hey, this is very similar to this book, but it's actually a little different. And here's what my book's value is that I can utilize to say like, hey, have you ever felt this way? Or, I understand what it feels like to go through this because I did. And a lot of people understand that, like, for example, divorce, but they might not get this one particular facet. And so I want to spread the message about this. What makes your book unique? What appeals to your audience? What do they really want? Do they want someone who's, a person who will swear like a sailor? Or do they want someone who's boldly going to proclaim things to the world and like charge ahead and blaze a trail and have a loud, confident spirit just like in their face? Or do they need someone who's just more reserved, calm, focused, confident, but just in this very easy to connect with type of package? There are different ways you can be. Think about how you be. All right. That's a fun way to put it, right? Think about how you be in the world. Who are you and what do you stand for? What will appeal to your audience? If you're dealing with a very traumatic topic, you're probably going to need to exercise some more sensitivity and tact when talking about it. So you're not going to be someone who's, hey, I'm just going to, reveal all the details and I'm going to make you uncomfortable because I'm going to ask uncomfortable questions about your experiences. You're going to be more understanding that these things maybe take time to unfold. And you just need to make these, maybe the connections you make are more long standing, or a better word than that, but you really have to put more time into it. This isn't about just saying, hey, hi, I'm nice to meet you, I'm Danielle, and walking away. You really need to foster these relationships and help them grow and nurture them. So you may need to be more nurturing in your communications. And then how does it intersect with your author platform, your brand? How does this intersect with your author platform? Are you in places where you can connect with people the way you need to connect? Does your website give a good inkling about your brand? Do you share things on your personal page that speak to the way that you want to be perceived as an author of this particular book? And again, maybe your personal stuff might be a little we move that to the side, but these are things that I've thought about in my business as well. I might not have all of my clients following me on my personal page on Facebook, but if they do friend request me, then I want to be mindful of what I'm putting out there. And what I'm putting out there is my brand and who I am and how I choose to be perceived by the world. I don't have to share all the facets of my life if I don't want to, or I can be someone who does share all the facets of my life, and you get a very no holds barred type of feeling from me. I'm going to let you decide what what you think my style is. But that's up to you. You get to decide what your brand is and how you are being perceived, how you want to be perceived as the author of this book. So take that in consideration. That's kind of phase one, because the answers to those questions will help you identify where you show up, how you show up, and to whom you show up. Who are your readers that are going to appreciate this type of style versus this type of style? Where do they hang out? Are you on the right platform to reach people who maybe have a really dry sense of humor? Maybe that's like the Twitter folks or the Reddit folks, or, are you a very visual person? Maybe that's Instagram and you're just wasting your time on Twitter because they're all about words. Maybe you're a wordsmith and you love that and you really are clever and concise and you can get your point across, and people love that you have these little one-liners. I think I trip on my words a little too much for concise one-liners, but I get my point across eventually when you give me a minute. So maybe Twitter's not the best fit for me, right? So identifying your brand helps point you in the right direction and narrow down what's a good fit for you. So your author platform may be very broad, and you may be in all the different places, but when you think about your time expenditure and your money expenditure and your energy expenditure, where do you want to spend the most? Where do you want to spend the least? Maybe you are on Twitter, but you're really not going to be there very much. Maybe it's only where you can make connections that enrich your author experience. I know many writers are on Twitter, and maybe you're looking for information from others that are giving value, and you're not necessarily on there trying to connect about your book. That's okay. You get to decide what's right for you. So that's phase one when you're thinking strategy. Phase two is you want to connect. Well, you want to really identify and then connect with your audience. And sometimes you need to do this kind of step back, from afar research. And then sometimes you really need to get in there and literally do market research. Talk to people, ask them, what are their favorite books, or what they've been reading, or what they've been through, or whatever. It's not about your book yet. You're identifying and connecting with your ideal audience because you need to understand who they are, where they hang out, and then what value they are seeking. Now, if you are this far and you've published your book, or you're going to be publishing your book, and especially if you're going the traditional route, you may already have a very good idea about who your audience is. So this might be kind of an easy thing for you to wrap your head around, but it might not, and that's okay. You really do need to be strategically looking for answers or information that can give you answers to those questions. Who are they? Where are they? What do they need? You might not have people who are identifying as victims of childhood sexual abuse. Like, they might not be sticking their hands up, but you may identify platforms that provide similar support. And perhaps if you are able to partnership with people behind those platforms, you can also reach those readers. The readers may not be obviously in plain sight, but you understand where they might be getting support because you understand the type of support they need. So think about your audience, identify who these maybe ideal readers are, where they might be showing up, how you can directly connect with them, and how you can indirectly connect with them through other avenues, even if they're not reaching back out. And then last but not least, within your strategic promotional plan, be prepared to give as much as you possibly can. Talk about what helped you when you were going through this. Talk about how you were going through the writing process. Talk about whatever you want, but just share. Provide feedback, provide partnership, provide camaraderie, just lend a hand, lend an ear, lend a shoulder, whatever your readers need. And think about it from this angle as well. If you're reaching out to influencers or people in the same industry, you're going to want to give to them and or their audience as well, in a way that supports them. So when you connect with an influencer, you've probably heard of this saying, like, what's in it for me? You want to let them know what's in it for them. What about you and your book and your messaging can provide value that they can give to their audience? Because they're looking to give value as well. They got a whole platform, a whole list of followers that are waiting for them to say things. If they don't continue saying things, those followers don't continue to follow. You know what I mean? So they're looking for stuff to use, material, content. They're looking for stuff to talk about, especially if you're like on Bookstagram, these book reviewers on Instagram or YouTube. They're looking for books to review, but they're not going to just pick up anything, and they're not maybe going to pick up random books either. Look for influencers and reviewers that are maybe looking at similar books, similar styles, whatever it is, your competition. Offer them a free copy. Offer them, time to interview, whatever it is. You want to give before you start asking. And giving isn't just like, I'm going to give you my free book. I'm going to give you time to interview me as the author. You want to give your value via engagement. Go comment on people's posts, or provide feedback when you are in a support group type of place where people are going there to get support. Go give support. Don't be the person who just goes in there and says, well, you should really read my book if you want the answer to that. Let me give you an example. I am a memoir coach, and I am in other memoir groups. I did not join them to poach people from the groups. I joined them to provide feedback and just genuinely connect with people who are writing memoir. Not only does it help me understand what my clients may need or what my group members may need, it helps me visibly become someone who provides support, someone who provides valuable feedback. They may then end up figuring out that I'm a coach and that they may get some value from me, or they may not, and that's okay. But I'm able to provide my expertise and my information in the way of support, just loving support from my heart because I'm compassionate, because I care. I care about this is the basis for my business. I care about this. I care about people writing memoirs. I love it. I thrive on it. This is what gives me so much in my life, is to help people write their books. I also get paid for it, which makes it even better. That's not what gives to me. That's what I get as a reward, but I also get a lot of love and energy and connection back at me that really fills up my heart. So to get out there and talk with people is and give and just say, hey, what do you got going on? Like, oh, sounds like you need support with this or whatever. That's just enjoyable for me. So I get out there and I talk with other memoirists and even other coaches and other industry professionals. So get out there and just start talking and make yourself known about what you're, kind of within the topic of your memoir. So strategically, you want to look for ways that you can provide that value. That might be directly to your current platform. If you have an email list or website or whatever it is, your social feeds, whatever you identify as your platform that you have a direct reach to people, and then understand where your readers might be living and breathing and hanging out, so you can connect with them in those places as well. And so give before you ask. You're not going to get out there and be like, hey, hi, just published a book, wondering if you guys want to check it out. Maybe, but probably not. I've had multiple people try to come up into my group and just promote their books, and I'm like, well, who are you? Well, what have you done? We'd happily support you, but what's going on? Like, I don't understand what you need. So it's not just a cold ask. It's not just I'm going to drop my link here and walk away. That just seems, it seems a little selfish. And if you're writing a book for selfish purposes, you're writing it for the wrong reasons. So those are my 2 cents, maybe 3 or 4 cents. Who knows? I prattled on for quite a few minutes on this one. But strategically think about these 3 elements: your brand, your readers, and how you can give. And you will end up in the right places for the right reasons. And please come back for my next video where we will continue discussion on multiple topics in this area, okay?